All right, hello everybody. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar with BYD. We are really excited to get started, and it looks like we got a good group of people on. As you know, throughout the next hour, we are going to be talking about our latest commercial energy storage integration with the BYD team. Again, we are really excited about this, and we can't wait to demo it for you. A few quick housekeeping items just before we start. As usual, we are going to do our Q&A at the end of the webinar, so please chat your questions into the chat box throughout the next 30 to 45 minutes, and we will try to get to them at the end. We are also going to be emailing the recording of this webinar and the slide deck at the end of the webinar. So we have a great group of speakers lined up for you. Michael Liu is the Senior Director of Energy Storage for BYD. He joins us. He's been very instrumental in getting this integration live. Matt Semo is the Western Regional Manager for Energy Toolbase, and Kevin Mulvey also joins us. He is the manager of our technology and product operations team. And my name is Tracy, and I'm going to be doing our moderating for the next hour or so. So thank you all. Thanks to our speakers for joining. And I'm going to pass things off to them in a minute, but just going to talk about a few quick things before we start. So I'm going to start talking with a little bit about the integration, and then Matt Semo is going to dive more into that a little bit later. But this partnership with us and BYD launched last month. So in our ETB developer modeling platform in step 5, you're going to notice BYD's logo, which you can click to apply and use. What this integration really means is that we've integrated our Acumen EMS, energy management system software, with BYD's energy storage solutions. And that in turn means developers like yourselves, you'll now be able to model and analyze the economics of the BYD storage projects paired with our EMS, all in our ETB developer platform. The storage products that we've integrated in our Acumen EMS and ETB developer, which Michael will cover more in depth, are BYD's Chess and their Beehive product lineups. And this is essentially going to give you guys the fully integrated, off-the-shelf hardware software solution to just help make the development and deployment process of storage or storage paired with solar projects more efficient. And again, users do have to be approved to use this integration, but we are going to discuss that a little bit later in depth. So quickly, before I pass it on to Michael, I want to touch a little bit on another announcement that we just made last month as well, and you might have already seen. But if you go to our new front-end website, you are going to see quite a big difference. We launched our new front-end website, and some things have changed. This new site really more comprehensively tells Energy Toolbase's model control monitor story and the product suite that we now offer. So you've probably noticed I keep referring to ETB developer. That is obviously our sales and our modeling platform that you all know. It just now goes by a different name. And then Acumen EMS is obviously our energy management system control software. And we have our ETB Monitor product, which is our asset monitoring platform. So that is kind of the product suite, the model control monitor message that we talk about. We definitely, if you haven't checked it out, please feel free to go to our website and just kind of read a little bit more about those products. So I just wanted to clear that up before we moved on. With that, I am actually going to pass things over to Michael to kick us off.
Thanks, Tracy. Hi, everyone. Michael Liu here. I'm the Senior Director of BYD America on energy storage. Quickly introduce about BYD and myself. BYD is a 25-year company in the business and covers multi-industry. We have 220,000 employees and are in many countries in the world. So revenue in 2019, we hit 23 billion US dollars. And next slide, please, Tracy. I'll go into introduce a little bit different aspect of our company. So BYD started as a battery company. And the first product is a NiCad battery that goes into home phone and power tools. And very quickly, we moved into lithium battery and start to do ODM and OEMs for cell phones and laptops. BYD right now is the world's second largest electronic ODM and OEMs, just behind Foxconn. So about 80% of the phone in the world has some components supplied by BYD or have the phone assembled by BYD. To some of you might be aware, the Samsung Galaxy S series is assembled by BYD. And for another example, the Apple iPad, if you have one of those, has the chassis and the metal backboard supplied by BYD, the cover. So those are examples of what BYD does in the electronics industry. That counts for about 40% of BYD's total business revenue. And then BYD is also very big in vehicles. So both passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles. That accounts for about 50% of BYD's revenue. In North America, BYD focused exclusively on commercial vehicles, primarily buses, trucks, and forklift. So you may see one of those running in your city if you are paying attention to the public transportations. And another industry that we are in is the new energy business, which our divisions are in. So that covers solar panel manufacturing, stationary energy storage, LED lighting, and several other renewable related industry that's in this new energy business division. So that accounts for about 10% of the total revenue. SkyRail is something that we started in the recent years and just about to start it contribute very large revenues. So it is a monorail transportation, and it is an industry where BYD provides full turnkey solutions to the cities or to the states. So we are under construction in about 23 countries on SkyRail, and notably in the first project in the Americas region, or actually in South America in Brazil. Next page, please, Tracy. So BYD has a global footprint, and in US, we have our headquarters in Los Angeles and 2 manufacturer sites in the state of California, also close to Los Angeles. So we have a battery module assembly factory in Lancaster, California, and we also have a vehicle assembly plant in Lancaster, California. Next page, please. So coming to stationary energy storage. As a background, BYD manufactures both LFP batteries and NCM batteries for electric vehicles. But BYD as a company had decided strategically to exclusively focus on LFP battery for its stationary storage offerings for the safety priorities as a choice. So we want to keep the record of having 0 fires in our energy storage business for the foreseeable future that we've seen. So all the energy storage product we're going to talk about here later on will be based on BYD's LFP chemistries. Next page, please. So on battery manufacturing, so by the end of last year, 2019, BYD combines about 40 gigawatt hours of active battery manufacturing. And this year, the original target was 65 gigawatt hour, ramped up by the end of this year. And from now, it looks like we are having more. So we are now targeting about 90 gigawatt hours to be actively commissioned by the end of this year for LFP and NCM combined. And estimatedly by the end of this year, we'll have about half and half being LFP and NCM for that 90 gigawatt hours of production capacity. Next page, please. So coming to the North America energy storage product line. So we have a total of 3 product lines. that we are bringing into North America. So the first one is called BYD Beehive. It is for the larger C&I products or projects. It is a basic building block of 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt hours based on 40-foot containers. So it has battery and PCS all built in one enclosure, and the EPC will just have to need to do the AC collections when it brings to on-site. The second product is called BYD Chess. It's a smaller building block and designed for small C&I projects based on 240 kilowatt hours of battery cabin, and you can integrate it with your choice of 60 kilowatt or 120 kilowatt of inverter to put on the side of the battery cabinet. Both the Beehive and Chess have been shipped and installed in US before and has been in operation before. So all certifications are ready to go. So the next product is called BYD Cube Pro. This product is a little bit special because it's a battery-only system. It is designed for the large utility scale projects and to be paired with a third-party inverter. I think Matthew will talk about the integrated product later on. I think we have the Chess and Beehive very ready to go, and the Cube Pro product is in the integration process, and please follow with Energy Toolbase closely to see when this product will be coming available for configuration and delivery. Next page, please. So coming into a little bit more details on the Beehive. So again, it is based on 40-foot container, and we have 8 strings of battery in it coming up to 2 megawatt hours of usable energy. And each string of battery are connecting to 2 pieces of PCS modules. So you can kind of think of it as an enclosure that houses 8 electrical subsystems that combine to a 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt hour system. So these will be shipped with all battery module installed, and the PCS will be shipped separately to be mounted into the same enclosure on site. And it comes with all the needed auxiliary system in it, including the air conditioning, thermal management, fire suppression system, communication system, and all of those. Next page, please. Then we have the Chess system. Chess system is a 7 by 8 feet pad mount system. So it goes perfectly if the project is 100, 200, or even up to 1,000 kilowatt for a project size. So these can be individually pad mounts, and the product also arrives with all battery module mounted inside the enclosure. And PCS also needs to be installed on site onto the enclosure when it gets to site. So generally, these Chess and the Beehive system are considered to be very installer friendly because they come pretty much assembled, just need to connect the PCS and the battery cabin together with the communication system. The control system are actually all configured together already before they arrive on site. So it's pretty much a plug and play style. Next page, please. The next generation solution, which we are bringing into US as ready to deliver in Q1 2021, is, as I mentioned, a liquid cool battery only system. So they are designed for ultra large projects, typically seeing a large utility scale, either solar plus storage or wind plus storage or standalone storage system at 10th or 100th of megawatt hour level. So this can be set very close together and have a very high site level energy density. So again, utilizing liquid cool system, it provides a very compact solution for each megawatt hours. But again, it needs to be paired with a third-party inverter to make it a complete project. And please follow with Energy Toolbase closely to see when this solution can be available. Next page, please. So with all the equipment in the project supplied from BYD, BYD provides the maintenance and the warranty service, labor and material for all the scope that's in BYD Supply. So you don't have to worry about having to contact air conditioner suppliers or fire suppression system contractors for each individual subsystem repairs. BYD's after sales department provides the full coverage on all the subsystems. Next page, please. Okay. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, please send them in. And my understanding is that we'll have a Q&A sections at the end of the webinar. Thank you.
All right, Matt, I just shared the screen with you, so you can take over.
All right. Thank you so much, Tracy, and thank you, Michael. So hello, everyone. My name is Matt Semo, Regional Manager here at Energy Toolbase. Thank you, everybody out there taking time to join us here today. For those of you who are not familiar with Energy Toolbase and what we do, we are a software company specializing in calculating the avoided cost analysis or savings of solar PV and energy storage opportunities, as well as providing the software to actually operate energy storage in the field. So today, my portion of the webinar will be dedicated to using the BYD integration within Energy Toolbase. So I'm going to be navigating fairly quickly. So if anybody needs more one-on-one training, we'll be happy to set that up with one of our dedicated account managers. So before we get rolling, I just wanted to provide a quick overview of how Energy Toolbase plays a role in this integration. So last year, we joined forces with Pason Systems. Okay, they're a very large company, had great resources, and because of that, that enabled us to enter into the energy storage control market. So now we're actually creating and deploying smart controls that's powering the top hardware manufacturers in the world, the most recent of which being BYD. So jumping into this test case, I'm going to quickly review what I built and then we'll jump into the integration. I wanted to review quickly the seasonal demand profile of this opportunity. The reason I want to review this is because we have some really big spikes here on the weekend. This profile is actually coming from a church, and it just provides a really great test case into the capability of the BYD hardware and how Energy Toolbase's Acumen controls effectively shave those peaks. So here we can see it's a little bit spiky during the weekdays throughout the entire year, but we see really strong peaks when we hit those weekends. So that's a really great opportunity for energy storage to shave those peaks down. Really quickly, looking at the rate tariff, because this is always going to be important when considering energy storage hardware and also what control variation we want to use. So taking a look at the energy charges. So here we're using rate tariff ALTOU, and that's out of San Diego Gas and Electric, California utility. And what we have here is TOU energy, right? So we have on peak, off peak, and super off peak. So the one thing I really want to drive home here is the value opportunity of this rate. So on the energy side, if we were to charge our batteries on super off peak just over 9 cents and then discharge them on peak just over 11 cents, we only are going to gain just a few pennies worth of value per kWh that we shave. So not a tremendously valuable opportunity on the energy side, but on the demand side, it's a whole different story. We have max demand here north of $25 per kilowatt. We have on peak demand north of $20 per kilowatt. And then down to the summer months, our on peak goes north of $30. So making sure that our controls and the hardware specifically target demand is going to be vital to making this pencil out. Now, the first time you click into the integration, okay, you're not going to automatically get access to it. So there's a really quick process to get approved. So the first time you click into the integration, you're going to see the BYD logo, but it's going to be grayed out, okay? So all you do is just click on that, click accept, and your application will be sent into BYD for review and approval. Now, BYD is going to approve this pretty quick. We want all of you to jump in and start using this integration, incorporating BYD hardware and our Acumen controls into any opportunities. So we're going to make sure you guys get approved really quick. Now, once you guys are approved, you're going to be sent a welcome email with a price card. It's going to contain the pricing for the hardware from BYD and our Acumen controls. And you're also going to get the BYD resource guide. So this resource guide is going to basically give us a nice comprehensive overview of what this webinar will be discussing, talking about the controls, signing up for the integration, how to use the integration, and the specific transaction that you're encouraged to use when modeling with an Energy Toolbase, which I'm going to review here in just a minute. So once you are approved, okay, the integration is going to be live in your platform. And I went ahead and already kind of pre-modeled the BYD chest, the 120 kilowatt 2-hour battery. The main things I want to highlight on this is that we have 81 annual cycles. We're discharging north of 18,000 kWh annually. But the big one here is blended savings, right? So we're looking at $88 blended savings. So for those of you out there that are not familiar with blended savings, right, this is a great all-in metric to determine the value of what this battery brings to the project. Now, with our experience, we would consider a valuable opportunity. We'd say anything north of maybe $40 or $45 blended savings, okay? So what that really means is that for every kWh of capacity that battery holds, you'd be saving your customer 40, 45 bucks. Now, in this example, we're saving $88, which is really, really valuable, especially because we do have solar PV installed on this project. So this opportunity, we have a 50 kilowatt system, and we're offsetting our usage about 84% with that PV system. So if we wanted to kind of reverse engineer this, right? We say, well, our blended savings is $88. How do I know what am I saving my customer year one? So you take your blended savings, multiply that by our capacity, 248, we get 21,824. So in this example, even with solar on site, right, we're saving our customer just from storage alone over $21,000 year one. So when you couple that with the ITC, you got some states have depreciation, maybe S-chip out of California. It becomes a really, really nice payback. And I priced everything in this opportunity very realistic to what we're going to see in the actual field as well. So when we get to the payback period, it's going to look really nice. So this is just a quick overview of the BYD 120, but let's go ahead and click into the integration. So when you're inside the integration, this is what it's going to look like. And we have, again, the BYD Chess 120, but click on that drop down. You're going to see there's 4 options ready to go for you. So we got the 122 hour, we have a 60 kilowatt 4-hour discharge. We have the Beehive 1 megawatt 2-hour, and then the Beehive 500 kilowatt 4-hour battery. So we have you covered anywhere from the small commercial opportunities to the large commercial industrial opportunities as well. So after you select your design, we're going to ask you to select your design quantity, okay? So here I designed this just with one design model of the 122 hour, but really, I mean, you could save 10 designs if you like. You could save 5. It really depends on what you feel might be the best size system. But after that, you're going to go down to the controls. Now, we have 5 options for you. And again, these are all Energy Toolbase's Acumen energy management systems. So this is going to drive and power the behavior of these BYD hardwares in the field. So we have demand charge management and TOU arbitrage, charging from PV only. We have demand and arbitrage, no charge restrictions. We have specifically TOU arbitrage with charging from PV and no charge restrictions. And then last but not least, we have self-consumption. Now this one here is the most simple dispatch strategy that we could actually ask for. All we're going to do with this strategy is we're going to charge our batteries from solar generation. We're going to keep that charge in the batteries, and we're going to discharge in order to offset our imported energy. So there's actually no price signal involved here. It's just as simple as it could be: charge from solar, discharge to offset our imports. Now, the reason why I wanted to review the rate tariff, right, is because we have very little gains on the TOU arbitrage, but the bulk of our savings is coming from demand, which typically is going to be the case when looking at commercial opportunities. Not always. There's definitely some rates out there that have really good energy savings and also really good demand, right? So how do you know, right? How do you know that this one model or one design of the BYD Chess 120 is the correct quantity? How do we know it's not 2? How do we know it's not 3? Well, right here in the corner, we have ETB Optimizer. So this is a really awesome feature of Energy Toolbase. This is a simulation engine that when you click on it, it's going to look back, and it's going to look back at the consumption data that we loaded, the rate tariffs that we're using in the project, the effect that solar PV has on the project if it's present, and it's going to look at the energy storage design and the control. So all these things together, it's going to give you 10 different system sizes, right? So when I ran this optimization engine, it's going to say, hey, give me the BYD Chess 120 2-hour version, but from system quantities 1 to 10. So when I scroll down here, I'm going to see that we have the 120 248, and then we can see it double, triple, quadruple, all the way up to 10 of those systems. So this is going to give you guys a really good insight into what is the most cost-effective battery variation, okay? So right off the top, we have blended savings. So this is the metric I kind of already reviewed with you. But as you can see, right, we're going to start off here with the 122.48. Our blended savings is $87.75 per kWh. If we double that system, our blended savings drops, okay, down to 48. If we triple it, it goes down again. So the reason why this happens is because we can look here at our total bill savings. Right, so just with one of these systems, we're going to get total bill savings of $21,762. But if we double the system, we're only increasing our savings about $2,000. So kind of following that math, right? Total savings divided by our capacity, the batteries bring a little bit less value to the table per kilowatt hour. Okay, so on this chart, we can separate out energy savings. So even still, with really low value, we're still saving $371 on energy. But the big one here is demand, right? Over 21 grand just on demand only from the battery, okay? But also we have our annual exported energy. And this is gonna be particularly important for certain markets within the US and abroad. Here in Hawaii, right? A very common interconnection agreement that customers undergo is called CSS, which is called customer self-supply. So if you send any energy back to the grid whatsoever, you get zero value for any exports. So this chart tells you that as we increase our battery capacity, what are we exporting to grid? So certain markets this could be very important to keep the value as high as possible for your opportunities. And then that goes to show also with other opportunities that have a fixed rate for exports, that could be 20 or 30% of retail, right? So just something to keep in mind when considering modeling batteries in different markets with different metering configurations. So really quick, we're almost nearing the finish line here. I wanted to jump into the demand visualization. And the reason I wanted to show you this is because this gives a really great insight into what the batteries actually are doing. So let's kind of go down to a summer month here. And what we can see, and let me just kind of toggle some of these off. So we can see that that seasonal load profile I showed you earlier kind of looked like it smoothed everything out. And that's kind of a high level profile. So when we actually dive in granular, we can see that it's a very, very spiky profile, okay? So when we start looping in, our solar PV generation of what we're actually generating with solar, then we put in our battery activity and the state of charge, we can actually see exactly what these batteries are doing and how they're discharging and charging to offset the demand. Now, the whole point of this obviously is to shave that demand down, okay? Get it down as low as possible, smooth out that curve, and capture as much savings as possible. So when we look at this, we're gonna see that light blue is our new demand. So we can see from what was originally very, very spiky, all those big peaks and valleys, we made that nice and even, and we're smoothing that on down. And that's the whole goal of this energy management system and using BYD hardware, is to create as much value as possible for your customer. And then finally, we're going to move into the document and kind of see how all this puts together. Actually, let's go into the transaction. So once you're approved, like I said, you're going to get an email notifying you that you got the resource guide, and also talks about a specific transaction. So when you're approved, you're going to get a transaction loaded into your account. It's called the ETB Acumen EMS Cash Purchase 20-year. So what this does, it's basically a simple cash purchase, but this loops in the replacement licensing cost for the energy management system from Energy Toolbase. So when you first purchase the equipment from BYD, it's going to come with 10 years worth of the licensing agreement to operate and control the batteries. After those 10 years, if you want to continue operating the BYD hardware with our controls, you need to re-up the licensing agreement. And this transaction will dynamically give you the price to renew that license, okay? So depending on which battery you choose in the integration, again, this will automatically give you that price. So when we get down into the cash flow analysis, we're gonna see that price right here at year 11, okay? So a quick review of what we're looking at. Here's our total project cost. So this included the cost of our solar PV, which I priced out at about $3.20 a watt. So actually a little bit high for the size system that we have. And this also includes our energy storage pricing. So 320 total. We have our IEMS license renewal. So at year 11, okay, we're going to project that the cost renewal is $27,000. Now, obviously, as software evolves, things are going to get cheaper and cheaper. So this actually most likely would be a more conservative approach to what the cost will actually be. It's probably going to be a little bit cheaper 10 years from now. So once we loop that in, we have all of our incentives. We got our SGIP, that's specifically out of California. We got our bill savings, state and federal incentives. And we can see here with realistic pricing for this opportunity, we have a payback period of 3.9 years. So in year 4, the end of year 4, we're going to make $4,000. At the end of year 20, we're going to make about $450,000 on this opportunity. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us and we'd be happy to set up a meeting with a dedicated account manager. I appreciate everybody for tuning in the past couple of minutes. And Tracy, I'm going to pass it back.
All right, Kevin, I'm going to share my screen again, and then I'm going to pass it off to you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that, Matt and Michael. That was great. My name's Kevin Mulvey, and I sit on the technology and product operations team here at Energy Toolbase, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about that team and kind of give a little insight into the role that we play here at ETB. So as has been alluded to, the merger that happened back in September, end of 2019, we formed this team in order to kind of provide technical expertise and operational guidance for the new and improved Energy Toolbase product suite. Currently, this team consists of 4 members that collectively bring 40 plus years of industry experience to the table. And mainly the team operates in the background, serving kind of as a liaison between our internal sales and support teams and engineering and product teams. So, you know, if you're a current user or a future user of Energy Toolbase, your primary point of contact is always going to be your account manager, but the TBO team works behind the scenes, providing technical support for some of those more complex and larger scale projects that we're going to continue to come across. One of the other big roles that this team plays is bringing domain expertise in the different regional markets that we enter. And as a lot of you know, the origins of Energy Toolbase stem from California, where our domain expertise is really second to none. But as we grow and expand into these new markets, we want to ensure that our expertise grows and expands with us. Because everywhere you go, there's some other nuance around how you're going to monetize energy storage. And if you take New England, for example, over this past year, the TPO team here has really focused on understanding the ins and outs of the New York and Massachusetts markets in order to help develop the control strategies that are needed to thrive in those markets, and make sure we're able to really model the systems up there. So we're going to continue to do that everywhere we go, tracking different rate structures and incentives, the value stacking opportunities, wholesale market opportunities, and just continue to enhance and improve our product offering here at Energy Toolbase. Another big role that we play is developing these relationships with our hardware partners. And I'm really excited to kind of be here today, welcoming BYD into the fold. I've been working with these guys for a few months now, kind of getting everything up to speed and dialed in, and they've been a great team to work with, and their product is excellent. So we're really excited to have it on the platform, and excited to work with some of you guys on some of these more complex projects we come across, utilizing their equipment here in the future. So yeah, thanks for having me here today. Just wanted to talk a little bit on that.
All right, thank you, Kevin. We are going to actually start our Q&A now. And yeah, we had a few questions that we are going to address in the next, hopefully 10 or so minutes that we can get through. All right, let me go through these here. The first one I'm just going to start with is probably to you, Matt, about the subscription and being able to actually use the integration within the ETB developer platform. Is there a way to try it and just like test it out before somebody fully commits to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So to get access to the integration, you do need to have an active Energy Toolbase account, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to pay for it right away. We do offer free trials. So if you're not currently a Energy Toolbase subscriber, just log onto our website, sign up for a free trial, and you get the full capabilities of Energy Toolbase, and we'll make sure that you guys get access to the BYD integration to give it a run through.
Great, thank you. Michael, I'm going to toss this one to you. Somebody asked how many chess systems can be stacked in one system?
In one project, there's not really any limit to how many chess system you can put into one project. They'll be paralleled on the AC side, and you can choose if you want to tie them all up on the 480 volt bus, or tie them together after a transformer if a transformer is needed for the project. So technically there's no limit. It's all come down to the project size optimization and to your site layout and other factors.
Okay, thank you. Matt, I'll throw this one to you. We had a couple questions about pricing structure for projects, which obviously varies.
Yeah, so on the pricing side, again, when you do get approved the integration, you will be getting a pricing sheet to price out the BYD hardware and also include the Acumen Energy Toolbase controls. So aside from that, we don't share that with just anybody. So you do need to be approved for the BYD integration to get that pricing. But once you have that pricing sheet, that'll allow you to, put in that total cost into Energy Toolbase, make sure obviously you account for certain margins for your opportunity as far as commissions, any installation costs or trenching and conduit. But yeah, we will be able to provide you the cost.
Great. Michael, this one is for you. We actually are getting a lot of questions about the BYD equipment. So for BYD, is there capacity guarantee at the end of the 10-year warranty?
I think we can leave that question to maybe Kevin to speak about. In our offering to Energy Toolbase, and we stand behind every offer that Energy Toolbase offered to the customers, we usually provides a warranty to the system on its battery capacity retention. So which means if you are inputting a specific work case, and Energy Toolbase will validate that use case or dispatch pattern for the battery, and there usually is a warranty for the energy capacity throughout the 10 years term.
Yeah, and just to add a little to that, like Michael had outlined, you have your capacity retention over the 10 years in the warranty. Energy Toolbase can work with developers on forming performance guarantees for these systems, which will be very custom based on the site configurations and whatnot. But the product to date, we haven't really considered guarantees or any kind of warranty of that beyond the 10-year fold with the chess product.
Okay, thank you. I think maybe Matt, this one is for you. We had a couple questions about Matt or Michael, application qualifications. I mean, we do accept applications pretty quickly. Is there like a standard that, you know, a developer would have to meet?
So yeah, I can take it really quick. Yeah, so Tracy, I would say, and Michael, please chime in as well. But I would say if you're working within the commercial space and you're a developer in the field, you shouldn't have any issues being approved for the BYD integration. But Michael, please chime in on any sort of other approvals that you guys kind of look for.
Generally, we rely on Energy Toolbase review on the applicant. We generally do not set any limitation for the application or approvals. We do have some limitation if it appears to be a direct competitor of BYD on the equipment side. Then we may need to do a little bit more due diligence. But that's all I can think of. Generally, we want as much as people and as many as developers be aware and familiar with the offering that we offer as a team here.
Thank you for that. Another one that I think is probably like a Matt, you know, Michael or Kevin. We actually get asked this in a lot of webinars, but who has access to, you know, the specific project data when using an integration and the privacy, I guess, behind that?
Yeah, Tracy, I'll take this one here. So when you are approved for the integration, so we will be able to see, you know, information about the project, but no personal information or lead information about the contacts will be shared. So basically all the project specs. So BYD will be able to see what battery systems modeled, you know, what the blended savings are, what the payback period is, basic project analytics and specifications, but no personal information about that project will be shared. So we just limit that, but to a certain degree, yeah, we can see the information, but again, we just keep it limited just to project spec.
All right, thank you. So we're at the 45-minute mark. There are some other questions, but these are ones that we're probably going to answer offline for you guys. They are some project specific. So those would be better off. We are actually going to reach out to everybody via email after, whether it's the BYD team or whether it's the Energy Toolbase team. We will be reaching out to you guys after the webinar to get all those questions answered. And as Matt talked about, if you are an Energy Toolbase user, you can feel free to click on that logo in step 5 and apply to use this integration. And then if you're not, again, we do offer that trial, where during that trial, you have full access to the BYD integration and you can model unlimited projects with it. So please feel free to head to our website and get that free trial, but we'll also have some links in the slide deck that we send out at the end of this webinar. So we're going to end it there, but I do want to say thank you to our speakers, Matt, Michael, and Kevin, for being on with us today. Their emails are on the screen right now, so please feel free to reach out if you have any questions for any of them or myself. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Bye. Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, everyone.